Hi and welcome everyone to today's webinar. We're going to pick up where we left off in the last webinar. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review the webinar on WordPress basics and we're going to, like I said, continue from there. So hopefully you weren't put off by building a website, and I'm really hoping that I showed you how simple it was to get from the basics to actually building a website in less than an hour, really, because we did it on the webinar. And the key thing and the key take-home message is that if you're consistent and persistent in what you're doing, then you'll get new customers from the methods that we're teaching you. Hopefully, after the last webinar, you were able to get started with your blog, get it set up. Some of the basic things we talked about as far as picking your domain name and getting your hosting done. And if you followed our daily plan that we gave you, then hopefully if you did all those things to get it all set up and going, then you'll be ready to pick up here as we start talking about content is king, as we got on the slide. Now, we're going to go through the slides as we always do, and we'll actually do a live demonstration of creating a page and creating a post, and we'll use the site that we created in the last webinar to add to those. And so again, it's going to have loads of content in there, and we'll be answering your questions towards the end. Hopefully you'll be taking some notes, because that's always useful, and be sure and type those questions in, and hopefully we'll have time to get to all of the questions. So search engines, I've mentioned it many times before, and search engines love content. You know, it's quite simple. It's the content that tells them whether or not your site is relevant to what people are searching for. So the keyword research, as always, is very important, and not only just one word keywords, but even what we call long tail keywords, which can be 3, 4, 5, 6 words long. The longer the keyword phrase, of course, the less or the smaller the number of people will be searching for that keyword. However, if somebody's typing in a keyword that's 4 or 5 words long, that's very, very specific about what they're looking for. So they're obviously ready to buy. And if you can be on page 1 for that long tail keyword, then you're going to get business from that. So you know that we were looking at the finance to wealth management organization. So your keyword may be income drawdown or drawdown of retirement income, and then your long tail keyword may be what's the best way to draw down retirement income. So the keyword that you then optimize on that particular page or several times on different pages is with that particular long tail keyword. So then when someone types in drawdown retirement income or income drawdown, you're likely to be on page 1. So again, going back to that keyword research and knowing what your keywords are. But what you're doing really with the content is that you're building that know, like, and trust factor with your current customers and also with any new customers that may come to your site. So you want to make sure that your site is pertinent to what they're looking for. You want to make sure it's interesting. The more time that someone spends on your site, the more relevant that Google or any other search engine considers your site to be. So if someone's coming and spending 1 or 2 minutes or longer on your site, Google takes note of that. But also they take note if somebody comes to your site for 2 seconds, bounces right off because the content on there is not relevant to what they're searching for. And then you would then start to fall for that particular keyword in the rankings because Google doesn't think that you're relevant. So you want to make sure that you have relevant content, it's interesting, and we're going to obviously talk about that throughout this webinar. So what we're going to cover, we're going to talk about firstly a bit about who are you marketing to. You need to know what the specific target market is and your audience, because once you know that, you can then address the specific needs of that audience, obviously. The second thing we want to talk about is your blog structure. How do you set that up? We talked a little bit about that in the previous webinar, and we're going to do a bit more about that today. Then we want to discuss content creation. How do you post your content? Where do you get your content from? So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about on-page SEO, or what's called on-page optimization, i.e. how do you attract search engines to what you're doing on page. We're then, as always, going to have a live demo of putting a page in, putting some information on the page, putting some information on a post, putting that into your site and making it look good. And then we're also going to talk about where to get your blog ideas from, because after a while, when you're doing a post a week, It's like, okay, what else can I write about on this subject matter, and where am I going to get the information from? So we'll give you some ideas where to go for that. So let's kick off with, who are you marketing to? Who is your market? Now, this is really important because you want to know what kind of people buy from you. You know, you need to know that so that you can observe and see the kind, let's say for example, the kind of age bracket that they're in. And all these things are really important because if you've got, say, a customer base which is of the older generation, when you're looking at SEO, maybe you want to focus on Bing, and I would suggest you focus on Bing. And the reason why you'd want to focus on Bing, is that I've discussed it in previous webinars, is that nowadays Microsoft owns Bing, and Microsoft obviously owns Office. So when they are sending out new computers with Microsoft Office on, then the Bing is the default browser on all of those computers. And the chances are, this is a generalization, but the chances are the elder generation either they haven't got the know-how or the inclination to start messing about with browsers and changing it to something else. So therefore, it makes sense that if your target market is that old generation, you focus on a search engine that actually is most likely that they're going to be using. So that's just one example. Another thing that you may want to look at is income level. And there's a whole raft of things that you want to look at. But you know, if you've got a product or service where you're targeting higher level income professionals, then those sort of people tend to hang out more on LinkedIn than on Facebook. So when you do a blog post, you may want to put a reference on that post onto LinkedIn versus on Facebook, because it's all about having, you know, maximizing your time. You can do everything, of course, but if you've got a limited amount of time and you decide you're high income people, focus on LinkedIn rather than on Facebook. And that's just a couple of examples, but you really need to know who's buying from you, their age or income level, and that can really go a long way towards helping your blogs be found. Then we want to understand, why are they buying from you? And this will help you determine what kind of keywords that you want to use, determine what you're going to be blogging about, what makes you stand out from your competition, and we'll talk about ways to find this information out, in a minute. But you know, why are they buying from you versus another person or the next door, whatever it may be. Then you want to understand, what is your message to that market, and obviously the previous things will help you do that, the previous 2 points. If you're in the healthcare industry, for example, is your audience more interested in weight loss, or is it healthy living, or is it prevention? You know, depending, you know, it's the same market, it's healthcare, but once you know what your message to that market is, that then helps you get that message across effectively and clearly to that particular market. Then you want to know, where is your market located, where's the target market located, and what we mean by that for this purpose is, you know, is it local versus global? You know, if you're a local business, a retail store, for example, then what you're trying to get is people to come into the door of the store. Now, if that's the case, you're going to want to blog about things in your local community, events that are going on, maybe an event that you've attended and what you found at that event. So locally, maybe you're even going to start sharing blog posts with other local merchants. Maybe you're a local person that's in a small suburb in a town, and you could join together with other local businesses in that suburb and put up a blog and encourage local people to come in there. In that way, that reduces your burden, because you'd only be doing something like 6 to 8. You'd only be doing one blog or post 6 to 8 weeks, because you're taking turns with doing that with the other local businesses. Now, if you're more global and start targeting that audience instead and concentrate on the kind of things that those people will want, like the healthcare that we talked about. So it's really important to know where that target market is, so you can understand how you're going to market to them. And then, if you don't know, because I know a lot of people are going to be saying, and I've already seen some questions saying, well, I don't know. The key thing is, you need to know really to market effectively online. So if you don't know who your target market is, if you don't know why people are buying from you, all you need to do is ask. You know, and this can be done via surveys. There's a website called surveymonkey.com which allows you to do surveys, and I think the lowest plan is free, but it's not very expensive, even if you have to pay for it. But I know it used to be free. and you can basically do surveys there, and then you just can send it out via email or put it on your blog, whatever you want to do. You can do it, but ask people questions, because your customers will actually then tell you the information that you want to know. And ask your customers, what do they like about your product? What is it that keeps them coming back? So you want to ask them those questions, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So you can also, oh, it says it there, do it on social media. You can create the SurveyMonkey survey and then just post it on Facebook and ask people to come and fill out the survey and get a better idea of why people are buying or what they're buying. So there's many ways you can do it. You can do it on social media, you can do it on your blog, you can do it via email, etc. So if you're a retail store, or let's say you're a service provider, for example, an electrician or a pest control company, something of that nature, then when the technicians do a service, or when somebody walks in the door, have them take a survey that they can fill out. Make it short and snappy. You don't want to make it long because people want to fill it out. You can even ask them a question like, what would you tell your friend about us? And you can use those answers on post reviews on different sites out there on the internet. We're not going to get into posting reviews today, but that's just an example with what you can do with hopefully getting some more information about your market. But you'll get a wealth of knowledge. Maybe offer them some kind of discount on their next service for filling out the survey, just to encourage them if you want to do that. So you now have a survey, you understand what's going on, you'll have lots of great ideas for your blog posts, and you'll know how to address your target audience. So what we're going to move on to now is content creation. So let's talk here a little bit about that. First of all, what you want to be able to do is have credible content. That's the key thing. You want to tie your content as much as possible to news and facts, things that are going on currently, because obviously that engages people more. And what's actually happening out there now. You can actually go to Google News. Now, I wasn't going to do it, but since we're here, might as well. If I go onto where's it gone? My web. So if we go into here, just type in Google News. Always great when you're doing it live and the internet starts to run a bit slowly. So click on Google News. We're talking about income drawdown. So let's just click on here, income drawdown. What you see there is that you get lots of different examples. You've got there, income drawdown is more popular for a good reason. Blog, 5 income drawdown tips. Savers handy drawdown boosters, GAD rate hits 3.25%. And all you're going to do is click on one of these. So if I go into the 5 income drawdown tips, for example, yourmoney.com, I always like to get tips, which are, the 3 best tips or the 5 best tips or whatever it may be. I always find that's really, really useful. So if I go on here, it shows you the article that we're talking about. It's got the income drawdown as a keyword, which is the keyword that I want to rank for. Then what you can actually do is come down here and just copy this. And don't worry, I'll tell you exactly how you're going to do that and what you're going to do with it. So you then just come down here, you copy that article. You'd then go into a Word document and just paste it in there. And then what I do is, I might not put that bit in there, so take that out. So you've got 5 top tips on how to maximize income drawdown. You then put a little introduction paragraph and say, at Octagon, we have found that income drawdown is becoming more popular as an option for retirement planning. Right, so there we go. Let me just, I don't want that like that, I want that like that. So, and then you just put a little introduction about, what the article is about, or another one, and this is / this is not that, at Octagon, Octagon, we always like to keep you abreast of of the most relevant information on, let's say, income drawdown in this income drawdown. We have found the following article. Should be following. Oh, following. Just bear with me. And then you put that again. Put that little title there. Now, some people are now thinking this is a bit plagiarizing, isn't it? But what we call this is curation, because what you would then do is make sure you take this link here. Okay. Then go back to your Word document. Paste it in. Find the following article. And you can paste it in there. Or you can paste it in here. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference. So you've pasted it in there. So what we're describing here is we're giving attribution. So what you do is you put a little intro paragraph. Then down here you've given reference to it as again. And then, I don't want to put italics, then Octagon Wealth, or at Octagon Wealth, Control bold, at Octagon Wealth, we believe income drawdown is a great option. I don't know why I keep missing the W out there. So then you close it off. So you've put a opening paragraph, you've put a secondary paragraph, then you do that. Then the other thing that I always like to do is make sure, I'm not saying you do it in every single blog, but if you remember, we've been using our little crib sheet, which has got all our information on there. So I'll just take that off. So that's just basically the information about us as an organization. Stick that in there. So there you are, you've got a blog. You've got a blog post, and this is perfectly acceptable. Lots of people say Google doesn't like duplicate content. No, what Google doesn't like is you plagiarizing content, which is not what you're doing. You're curating the content, because what you're doing is saying, look, this is a tip, or this is an article that I found. I think my readers will be interested in it. You've attributed where you're getting it from, so people can click back to the link. You're not claiming it's yours. You're then putting an intro paragraph to say what it's about. You've then allocated that, you've attributed it again at the bottom, and you've then sort of like done a closing paragraph just to add some value to that article, and then at the bottom you've put the information. Now what you always do is make sure that this is exactly as it appears on Google, your Google listing, and that's why I've got that little crib sheet, because then therefore I know that whenever I'm putting my my information, my name, my address on there, it's always exactly the same as it is on Google. Okay, so moving forward, let's go back to the slides. So we digress a bit there for a bit, but I think it's important that you can use news and use the content. So in fact, you can write your own content, of course, and you can use other people's content, and we're going to show you some places to find other people's content. Now you have a choice here in doing just what I did, using their content and just making sure that you have a link back to the content, and that's not considered plagiarism. I just want to emphasize that again. So that's not plagiarism. Google doesn't mind it, and actually it's fine as long as you've got the link in there. The other thing that you can do is obviously use content for an idea, and then we write the article in your own words, and that's what we basically mean by credible content. Getting content that's new, in the news, something that's basically topical, something that people are going to read, and you can't always come up with ideas, so that's why we utilize those. Now also you want to be consistent with your content. Now we've obviously been talking all along in the last few months about setting schedules, and we do so at the end of every webinar. We give you what to do in the next 5 days, and we recommend that you schedule at least an hour a day to do different things. So maybe Monday morning is the hour where you spend creating content, posting your articles and that type of thing, but make sure that you set a schedule. That's the key thing. The other thing that we talked about is comments and keeping those turned on within your blog. So when people come in, encourage them to make a comment. So at the bottom of that blog, you might actually just put leave a comment, reply to us, etc., just to encourage people to do so. And then you want to go in every couple of days and just see if there are comments, because it's about interaction. There's no point asking people to share their comments but then not responding to them. And if there's any spam in there, then obviously you just take it out. So the other thing, like I said, is when you're online, it's not just all about hammering your services over and over again, but you try to get that trust, that loyalty factor. So it's about just sometimes sharing good information. So when you see something or other that's of interest on a blog post that's interesting, then just go and share it. You don't always have to be curating and putting the article. You might just go onto Facebook or to LinkedIn and share it. So for example, if we go back to Google, go to that blog post, then what you see down here is you've got these share buttons. So if you saw that article, say for example this wasn't an article that you were actually going to write about, or you weren't going to curate it, but you wanted to share it because you thought it was a good article and it fitted into your area of expertise, you might just say, okay, let me share an interesting article, and then you just tweet that out. You either tweet it out, you like it on Facebook, Google Plus it, share it, whatever it may be. You can just send that out, and it's made very, very easy. But it's as I said, the key thing really is about getting across the internet, and your profile is that you're writing good content, you're sharing good content, you start building that authority, that trust and loyalty factor. And once you do that, then people will come to your site. They'll stay on your site because it's good quality and they like you, to trust you, and they're more likely to start buying your products. So continuing on with content creation, ask your readers what it is that they want to know about. If you have a question, or you get a question that's frequently asked about your product, then you want to write about that answer you want to write about that in an answer to the question. You can just answer that in a blog. But if you're not sure about what the questions are, then write about or ask your readers what they would like to know about. There's very, very many ways to do it. And you want to encourage conversations, and to do that, you want to ask questions and spark answers. So for example, when you do a blog post, wrap it up with a question and encourage people to add a comment at the bottom, as we said before, and encourage them to post a question. So we've said that, and this is the same sort of methodology that you would use on Facebook. That if you do a blog post, and we're going to talk about this later, we're going to do a whole session on Facebook, but when you're doing a post on Facebook, then you want to start posting links to blogs, posts that you've done on your site, and vice versa. If you've written something on Facebook, you might want to give reference to it, etc., or on LinkedIn. And then you want to go in a day or two, and you want to say, oh, hey chaps, did you have a chance to read that blog post? What did you think about it? Are there any further questions? So what you're trying to do is encourage them to get onto Facebook and give their answers to that, but also you just encourage interaction so that you can respond to that. So as I said, ask your readers what they want, encourage conversations, ask questions and spark answers. And then we're going to talk about this more specifically in the Facebook session, but you can set up contests and events to get Facebook likes and comments, which always helps. Okay, so that's just more about content. Blog site structure, as we've said before, you want to make sure that you've got easily found contact information, as we described it as the NAP, and we take this from Google. That's your name, the address, and your phone number, exactly as it appears on Google. Try and put your phone number in the header, and you should have a sidebar widget that we created in the last webinar with your contact information that appears on every single page. So the sidebar is then static, and people can see that information and contact you no matter where they are and what they're reading. We discussed this before. You should try and have one page for each keyword, and then if you've got other products and services, then you actually have supporting pages underneath those keywords. So for example, if your keyword may well be retirement planning, and then the income drawdown comes in under that retirement planning. You might have you might have a retirement planning service, or an income drawdown service, or whatever it may be, or a free review, and that comes under retirement planning. So the keyword is retirement planning, and then you have your other keywords under there in the form of pages under that, and we're going to show you how to do that. You then have one category for each keyword, and last webinar we actually went in and set some of those up, and we're going to review those again. So you should have that one category for each of those keywords. And discussed before, you want to have a contact us page, and we actually created that last time with the contact form 7 plugin, if you recall. So if you haven't had a chance to look at the previous webinar, then you probably want to have a look at that, because that just shows you, takes you A to Z from buying a domain to actually building a website and actually getting that website in a format where you can actually make it go live. Contact us page we've discussed, and then about us page, I've put optional there, but actually it's probably not optional. I would actually say that you want to always have it on there, because even though it's a blog driven site and people are probably going to be coming for those specific keywords, because you try to build a like trust factor, then actually having an about us page, so if people are interested and want to know a bit more about you, they can actually just go on that page and see all your back history, etc. So I think that makes a decent structure for a website. That's the basic structure. Usually the menu is going to be your home page, then your about us page, your 5 keywords, and then a contact us page. That's normally a good format for a site. Okay, so moving swiftly onto the how you're then going to maximize that. We talked about on-page SEO. So when you're writing a post or a page, you want a keyword density of between 1% to 1.5%. And a keyword density just means how many times your keyword is mentioned in the article. So if you are writing a 500 word article even, you're going to use the keyword about 5 to 7 times within that article and no more, because otherwise Google knows what you're up to, because you want to write it, as I'm going to reiterate, you want to write it for people to read, not for the search engines. You optimize it so the search engines will look at it, but you write it for those people. Now, what you can also do is find synonyms to the keyword, so you can mix it up a bit. So if you're doing drawdown retirement income, you might do retirement income drawdown, and just switch those about. You might do DRI, as in capital letters, just different things, so that actually you can get the keyword in there. You're not stuffing it with the keywords, and then you just flip them around so that it means the same thing with the keyword within the article, but it keeps that keyword density to between 1 to 1.5%. Also, you want to use bold, underline, or italic with keywords. Don't use all of them because it's just overkill. I tend to use bold, so use, just bold out that keyword. So if you've got income drawdown, for example, you just bold that out, and then I'll talk about a bit more about that. Again, what you don't want to do is over-optimize, because if you over-optimize, it's basically shouting to those search engines, hey, I'm trying to get your attention. Now, they know you try to get attention, we know you try to get attention, but if you try too hard to get the attention, they then say back, well, actually, you're only doing this for us. You're not doing it to actually improve the service or improve your site for your readers. You just try to get us to rank this highly. So what happens then is that Google will actually penalize you for that. So you don't want to do that, and that's what we mean by over-optimizing. Then you want to use your H1, H2, and H3 tags. That might not mean anything to you at the moment, but once we start putting it onto the page, you'll see what we're talking about when we do this demonstration. Always use alt tags with images. Again, that might not mean anything to you, but I'm going to show you what that means, and it's really simple, but it just helps you optimize your page, and for Google when it's crawling the site to actually see that this page is about income drawdown, and it flags it up to it. Avoid characters like, I think they're called equal signs, ampersands, question mark in the URL, and I'm going to show you how to change that URL. And I'll show you how you can check that and how you can change that using meta descriptions. Ideally 160 characters or less, and it will be showing you exactly how and where to add that description, and that'll help you with that. And what we're going to use is that all-in-one SEO plugin that we installed in the last webinar as well. So just a little note here, I mentioned images and also we can put on videos and stuff. We're not going to get that into today. We have another webinar on that, but if you are using any kind of video, avoid using Flash, because search engines don't like it, they can't read it, it just comes up as like a big blank space, and therefore it hurts your site, and they can't crawl them, so you'll actually be penalized if you're using that. So Keep that in mind, because I know there's lots of people, and there was a little period where everybody wanted to use Flash because it looked great, and then people realised actually it's not very good for SEO. It might look nice, but actually it's a disaster. So don't use it. So moving on, you're also going to be doing a link to your Google local listing. Don't do it every single time, but I'll show you what I mean by that and how you can do that. Also, you probably want to link to some other citation sites. So remember, if you've been following the plan, we've been putting citation sites up. We have loads of citation sites, hopefully by now at least 20 or 30. So link to those other citation sites, and that's always very useful. And then link to an internal page, because you may well not have loads of other citation sites at the beginning, so just link to another internal page if it's about that particular topic, or you just link to your link to your website, because it's good that search engines like to see that you're linking to other places rather than just having loads of information on your website. So I'll talk to you about that and show you how I can do that, and then also link to authority sites. To be honest, I'm not saying I always do it, more often than not I link to Wikipedia, because Wikipedia's got a very high authority, and obviously search engines like you link into authority sites, we talked about that in earlier webinars, and whatever you're writing about, Wikipedia will have a topic on it. So for example, income drawdown, then I'll link to Wikipedia, because a lot of people might not understand the term income drawdown, so I'll then link the income drawdown to Wikipedia. And don't worry, I know some of these people are thinking linking, what's he talking about, how are we going to do that? I'm going to show you how to do all that. I think it's just important that I explain beforehand before I show you what I'm then doing. So that's always useful to link to an authority site, but only do it if it makes sense. Again, don't do it gratuitously. There might be a certain topic. So let's say, for example, we were talking about the Olympics. My blog was about the Olympics, and the keyword was the Olympics. I would not link that to Wikipedia, because it's then obvious that I'm just linking for the sake of linking, because there's very few people in the world who don't know what the Olympics are. So only do it if it makes sense, rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it. Okay, so articles should be between 500 to 7 words. That's about the sweet spot. You don't want to make them too long, but you don't want to make them too short either. You want to make them interactive. You want to make sure that people are engaged, should I say, rather than interactive, that they're engaged by it. And make sure also that it's scannable. I always try and do, and therefore that's why I like things that are bullet pointed, or it's got 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be, because you can then look down quite quickly and just have a quick scan. When people see a block of text and it's 500 to 700 words, hopefully the title will capture them, but it might not do immediately. And then they look at the block of text and think, no, I'm not going to read through that. If they see 1, 2, 3 or bullet points, people tend to say, oh, let me just have a quick scan. So you want to make it scannable, and then, as I said, bold out some words, etc., and it makes it a lot easier. Geotag with the name, address, and phone number exactly as they are on the Google Plus listing, and I showed you that already when I copied the paste and pasted that article out and put it into a Word document. At the bottom, what did I put? I just took out our Google listings, who we are, where we're located, and the address, etc. So you want to make sure you do that, and always remember, and I keep banging on about it, the content must be written for your audience, not for the search engines. Okay, it has to be. You can't do it any other way. So, okay, before we go on to the blog ideas, I'm going to come out of there, so to just go into my old website, wherever you are, that we discussed. Now, this is the website. It looks slightly different than it did in the last webinar, but the only thing I've done, actually, I've just added a header here just to make it a bit more attractive, because I had the default header, which is horrible. This is just something I just took from a stock image, and as I said, I've stuck in our phone number, or their phone number, in the heading. Remember, we had the bookmark finders on 192.com. This is my citation, and if you recall, to get into the site, all you do is //WP admin, and that'll get you into the site. Obviously, you have to remember your username and password. So there we go. Now we're in. That's your dashboard, if you recall, all your information that you need down here. What we're going to be focusing on today is the posts and the pages. We've pulled it up, hasn't changed. This is WordPress. It's really nice and simple, and that's what I like about it. because it's just a really easy format to use. If you can use Word, basically you can pretty much use this. So if we go to here, pages, I'll just put all pages up there so you can actually see, but you can obviously add new. Remember, that's the About Us, that's the Contact Us, that's the Pension Management, that's the Retirement Planning. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a new page. It's as simple as that. You just press Add New. So you add new page and it looks like this. And then what did we say we were going to do? We're adding a page. I've written one already here, not the blog that we talked about. So income drawdown. So I'm going to take that. And as you can see, that's one of my keywords is income drawdown. This is an article I've written or a page that I'm writing for income drawdown. You just go back to there. Click that in there. Income drawdown, an alternative for retirement planning. I don't know if you can do that, so I'm going to have to cut it and paste it. Cut, paste. So then you've got an introduction to it. You know, income drawdown, this is a new page. And, you know, what we're going to talk about, and we talked about previously that we had, you know, the H1, the H2 tags. That's the H1 tag. If you come down here, well, actually, oh yeah, it's open already. So if you come down there, just in case this isn't visible when you do it, because it's not always visible, you'd click this button here. So often when you open up the WordPress page, it looks like this. So if it looks like that, you just come across here, click on that, Show Hide Kitchen Sink. That's there, and then you'll highlight this as a title, and then that then becomes your H2 tag, and that just makes it bigger. So just stand that 5 top tips for income drawdown. What I always say is try and get the keyword in the first sentence, bold it out, and then come down. I'm not saying do it every single time. You see it there, bold it out, and you've got another one here. So this is just an example. I've not spent a huge amount of time writing this particular article, but this is just for one of your pages. So you've got some information about income drawdown. It's very clear exactly where it is. You've bolded it out, and then you're pretty much good to go. Now, this is where we talked about the linking. So you'd link it to external sources. So recently there's been a significant rise in income drawdown. So if I go onto here, just type in income drawdown, so that's just Google really. In fact, as I said, Wikipedia is always there. So you click on that Wikipedia, you take this here, that's the income drawdown, it defines what income drawdown is, copy that, go back to your blog. If you then highlight here, and see this here, it says insert, edit or link. Click on that, copy and paste that in there, put your title in, and you just put income drawdown. No, let's just change that. What is income drawdown? Right, and then always click here, open link in new window or tab. That means that when somebody comes to open it, they're not going to be taken away from your website. A new tab will be opened, and oh, I haven't linked that completely ever. Very irritating. There. Let me just do that again, because I've missed off the N, as you can see there. Just as simple as that. Do that again. What is income drawdown? Add the link, and if you want to take it off, i.e. you're not happy with it, you can unlink from there. Okay, so that's the first one. So you put that in, it's in the first sentence, income drawdown, what is it, etc, etc, etc. If you then wanted to go and say in this one, let me highlight it properly, I've missed off the highlight again. So if you want to highlight this and you wanted to add in your citation, exactly the same. So you've got that there. You then go to my little citation finder. These are all the citations. So let's say yale.com. Just take that there, copy it back to here and paste it in. And then you put yale.com, whatever you want to put in there. And then you've got another link. Now, if you've got other articles about income drawdown, because what you try to do is link to all the information, then you can then link it there. Let's say, for example, you haven't got another article about income drawdown, then one thing you can do is just link it to your actual site. So if you just click on there, because you're talking about income drawdown, so a link to the site is a link to a site about income drawdown and the keywords of wealth management, etc. So you just paste that in there. Today's is what I've done there. Paste it in the wrong place. Paste it into here, and then you just put Octagon Wealth Management. And the good thing is that obviously wealth management is one of my keywords, and it's in the name of it's in the name of the organisation. Let me just get rid of that space there. You want to make sure that it just looks nice inside. You get rid of all those spaces. Then you got that. There's quite a lot of spaces here. What I'm going to do to get rid of those spaces, I don't know why those spaces are in there actually. Let me just have a little look at my crib sheet. Interesting. Anyway, you can get rid of that, but I'm not going to bother just in a moment because actually it looks okay. So Octagon Wealth Management, this is exactly how it appears on Google Plus listing. Hang on a minute. Yeah, because I've copied it out of Word, I think that's why it's like that. Yes, because Word and WordPress aren't always 100% compatible. That's why there's that big spaces in there. What I always suggest, and what I certainly do, is I don't normally cut and paste it directly out of Word. Or if I do and it looks funny, I then paste it into a note document and then paste it from a note document, into here, because notes just allow it to be formatted as you want it to be formatted. And that's it. You've got all the information there. The one last thing I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to link to a Google listing, because again, you're then getting that social proof. Everything's linked in. So I take the Octagon Wealth Management there, and where was it? Go to my Google listing, which is at the top here. Copy that. Again, as I said, only do it if it's relevant. Don't do it in every single one. Don't overdo it. And then you put Google Plus listing, and that really is as simple as it gets. You know, you've got rid of all the blank rows. It looks nice. You've linked all the things. You've put some H1 tags in, H2 tags. If you want to put H3 in, you know, you just drop down here, heading 3, heading 4, whatever. You can put all those things in to the document, and that is as difficult as it gets, and that's the beauty, in my opinion, of the whole WordPress situation. Now, the last one thing that I want to do is add some media, because I said I was going to talk about the alt tags, didn't I? And the meta. So if we go into the alt tags, I've got some files there, but if I upload, let me see, excuse that. So let's go into here, go into there. Let's just go with that one. Doesn't really matter which one you go with. Now, this is it. You put the target, the title in, wealth management. Well, that's the income drawdown. And then you have the alt text, which is what our friends at Google start reading, and not what a lot of people don't put in. You can put a title if you want, and then if you put left in there, inserts it to the left, and it actually wraps the text. Yeah, that's all there. There we go. And there you have it. So there's your article. You've got a nice little image there. You've got your text wrapped. You've got your top tips, blah 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 blah, and then you've got all your links that you require in there. Now, as I said, if you just drop down here, then this is your little your all-in-one SEO. So what you're going to do is take whatever your title is, income drawdown and alternative for retirement planning. You're then going to paste that in there. So that's your title. And remember, this is the snippet that you're going to see. This is your meta, or your title and your meta description. So in terms of your description, what I tend to do is just take the first paragraph, make sure it reads well. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this one, and then just paste that into your description, and this is what you see in your search results. Now that's obviously a bit long, because, as I said, it should be 165. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time, but you just chop it out and then play around with it until you get it to 165. And then in your keywords, you then put in your keywords. Surprisingly, income drawdown, and I always then do a nice little tag: income drawdown Cheshire, income so retirement income drawdown, and you just put in your keywords there, and this is a great little plugin, and that's it, pretty much done and dusted. So you put in your different keywords, and then as I said, here this is quite long, so you might not want income blah 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 blah. I might just take that off, delete that, so it makes it a lot smaller. http octagon.com income drawdown. Take that out. Okay, that changes your URL. The URL is nice and short. It's nice and simple. You then press publish. I mean, obviously you can preview it, but let's just press publish. You can then either go to your site if you click there, or you can just view the specific page. And that's the page. However, if you click on home, then this is what the site looks like. Okay? So you've got your home, and the home is always where your posts go. Then you've got an about us, then you've got pension, then you've got retirement planning, you've got contact us. Okay, so let's nip back into the pages, and what I want to show you now is how simple it is to then get that page to appear in the title. So if I go into appearance, you go into menus. Okay, so this is what you've just seen: home, about us, pension, retirement planning, contact us. You now see there's a new page that I've just created called Income Drawdown and an Alternative for Retirement Planning. Simply add that to the menu, and it will do it. All of a sudden, you see there Income Drawdown and Alternative for Retirement Planning. Obviously, that's not a very slick title, and it probably won't fit on the page. So all you have to do to change that, you want it to make it nice and simple. I'm just going to change that to Income Drawdown. So you then do that. Save menu, and then you decide where you want that income drawdown to go. If you click it there, pension management. Now, just a little trick: if you wanted this as a page which was secondary, i.e. as underneath a main page, you come here and you indent it slightly. So if I did that, then what it would show is have retirement planning there, and then have income drawdown as a secondary page. But what I want to do is have that as a keyword, so income drawdown. So save that, and then when I go to the website, you'll see that income drawdown should have now miraculously appeared. So you've got home, about us, pension management, income drawdown, retirement planning, contact us. And that is really as difficult as it gets. And that's why I keep saying I love it. So if you were doing a post exactly the same as a page, add new post. So let's take that post that we'd created in terms of 5 top tips on how to maximize income drawdown. Stick that in as a title. Cut this out of here. Obviously, this is not original content. It's curated content, so that's why I've got all the references in there. That irritating thing's happened again, but I'm not going to change it. It's very easy to change. Just make sure you get rid of all the spaces if you're cutting from Word. Just side it up a bit because I don't need that in 2 places. So at Octagon, and you've put a nice introduction. You've put the reference to it. You then, let's change this again to a heading 2. There you go. Just make sure it's all lined up. Blah de blah de blah. Put another reference at the bottom there. You then put a little closing paragraph, and as I said, this happens because I've taken it out of Word. And if you want to get it into the format where, I mean, you may well like it with the big spaces, and I just don't. So I copy it back out my document and click it in there. you've done everything that you need to do. And again, you can go down here and do all the information. The one difference, or a couple of differences here between a post and a page, is you do all the stuff with it all in one, but I'm not going to. Then you then just click on here to say what category is it under. So it comes under income drawdown, also comes under retirement planning, and as opposed to keywords, they're called tags here. So you just put retirement, income drawdown, income drawdown, etc. I'll keep missing the W out, but it's in there. And then you just add, and then they come in there. And that, again, is a post published. So you publish that post. So that's done. And then you view your blog, view the post. So if I click on home, so what you find here is that you then published it. That's the article, all looking very nice and professional, all basically linking back to the original article. I've got my information in there, and then obviously I can click the links and just add it with the pages. And this is the most recent article, the article that was before it was there, and so on and so forth. So that's the way that it would rank up. So, and there's, I haven't put any information in the pages. So that was the post, and that is the page that we have. So hopefully that shows you how simple it is to build up your pages, build up your posts. So let's now get back and start looking at like blog ideas. Okay, so blog ideas. There's a couple of things that you can do if you want to get ideas. You know, there's several different sites where you can get that information. There's a site called eZine Articles. There's a site also called Technorati, Technorati.com. And there's loads of others, but those are the two sites that I generally go to look at and type in. And all you do is type in your keyword. So while I'm here, I do apologise, I'm jumping about a bit, but might as well while I'm here. So if you go to eZine article, and don't worry, I'll put all the links to these things I'm talking about into, so eZinearticles.com. Click on that, income drawdown, yep, search it, loading. Is it done? Oh, nothing on income drawdown, that's interesting. I was going to say, so income drawdown, you know, there's loads of articles on here. So again, get those articles, use these as inspiration, use these to help you think of, you know, to see what's going on, what people are talking about, what people are writing articles about, and again, you can use curation, you can use it as an idea to rewrite your own content. So Technorati is exactly the same. You just type in your own keyword. There we go. So that's writing what others in your industry are writing about. The other thing is basically what we call PLR. Now PLR stands for private label rights, and if you type in your keyword in a search engine with regards to PLR, you'll probably find someone selling article packs on that particular keyword, and these can be really inexpensive, anywhere from $3 to $5 to $6 for 10 to 20 articles. So you just go to your search engine, you type in fact, while we're here, I'm jumping about again, but I might as well. So if I put income drawdown, no, I put financial rather than income drawdown because it's a very specific financial articles. So PLR for financial articles is probably better. And then you've got personal finance PLR articles, finance PLR articles. If you click on there, that'll then take you to a site where it's actually selling PLR articles. Yeah, there we go. And this one, so it's about finance PLR. It tells you what it is. Well researched articles, no filler sentences, etc., etc., etc. Then how do I? Yeah, and then this is then telling you what the articles are. And then, I mean, and this is all the PLR topics you can have. These are not relevant to ours. And as I said, buy this finance PLR pack for only $5. So that's what I said. Very simple. Types of financial companies, tangible fixed assets. Now, I've just done it on financial companies. What you do is make it more specific around your specific area. Okay, and whatever area you're in, type in PLR for keyword, and then you'll find some articles on there. Now, the key thing with PLR is do not just take the PLR articles and use them as they are, because that then is duplicate copy, because the PLR articles are sold to everybody, so there'll be lots of people who have PLR articles. The PLR articles are really just for you to get ideas of what to write about. It's not to say, right, I've now got an article, I don't have to do any work with it, and don't use that in terms of curation either, because it's not a curated article. It's not useful for curation. It's an article, it's written, it's a general article, it gives you a good idea, and you can take some of the ideas out of that. But there's another site called Copyscape. Basically allows you to then take whatever article you've written, copy and paste it into the Copyscape website, and then Copyscape will tell you how similar that is to other articles. And what you try to do is get the article to be as unique as possible. So that's PLR. Google Alerts is another one. So off we go back to here. Google Alerts is a great one because it allows you to get rich content on a regular basis. You go to Google Alerts. You'll put your search query in there, income drawdown, okay, and then it'll ask you, that's basically because it gives you information up to a minute. There's obviously not much stuff on there on income drawdown in Google Alerts, but you'll say result type. You can have everything news blog, so you pick whatever you want. You say how often you want it, once a day as it happens, only the best results, all results you might put in. Obviously you lose once you put all results. There's not a huge amount, but it just makes it less specific to your keyword. You put your email in there, and then you just put create alert, and then you'll get it going direct to your inbox all the time. So love Google Alerts. Really useful. So those are just some ideas on where you can get your blog ideas from. You can also ask your audience, which I always recommend. Just ask people what are the challenges that they're having. What are the relevant questions that are out there. And another way, I don't think I put on this slide, but another thing that I would highly suggest is, it might not be your audience, but if you're on LinkedIn in a group, or you're on Facebook groups, etc., there will be certain topics which are hot in your industry or your particular niche area at that particular time. And one of the best pieces of advice that someone gave me, and it delivered a lot of business, was go into those groups, find out what people are talking about, and if you can answer that question that everyone's talking about, the question that's out there in your particular area, if you can write a little quick how-to guide or something of that nature, that really builds your authority very, very quickly. So that's which picks up that point tied to what people are talking about. But I really emphasize try and find common questions that people are asking, and try to then make a how-to guide or answer that particular question. So on that, hopefully you now know from the previous webinar how to build your website, going from a domain, moving through to actually building the website. You now know how to post a blog, you know how to optimize that blog, you know how to make pages on that site, you know how to optimize those pages on the site. You're pretty much good to go with getting your site found on Google and on Bing. So I think on that note, we'll now take some questions, and I will try and answer all those. So, okay, so another question. Where are they gone? So, what is PLR and what did I search for? Well, PLR is private label rights. So let's just go back to here. So it's private label rights, and all you'd put is PLR for finance is what you'd put. And if you go down here, just search down here, look for it, and then here we are. Finance PLR articles, high quality finance articles from Timber PLR. Really simple. You click on there and you just pick the articles which are relevant to what you want to do. Another question, how often should I post? Well, we've discussed that before. We've said basically what you want to try and do is do it once a week, unless you're really keen to get ranked very, very quickly, or you're very, very creative. You might want to try twice or 3 times a week. So yeah, once a week is what I would suggest. Then, oh, this is a very, very good question. Can you schedule your posts at certain intervals? And the reason why I think it's a good question is because I like to sit down, and when I'm in a flow of a particular topic, you might be wanting to do like a 3-part series or something. You want to write it all then and there. You don't want to be coming back and doing it. So yeah, there is a way to schedule those posts, and that's really easy. Where are we? There we go. So come into my site. If I go into here, let's say it's a post. So you want to create a post. So you add a new post, that's per normal. Another 5 top tips. Okay, so the only difference, you do it, everything is exactly the same. The only difference is when you come down to publish, it says here publish immediately. If you click that, it publishes it immediately, as the name suggests. If you want to do it in a different time zone, then you would then change that, and then you'd put like 50, that's the 20th. Yeah, publish. And that's then scheduled for January the 20th, 2014. There you go, you've published it, and it will come in on January 20th, 2014, and it won't be apparent on here, as you can see. It's still that one at the top, so no problem there. Let me just couple more questions. I think, oh no, that's the other question. I think all the other questions I've pretty much asked, I've answered as I've been going through. So okay, so let's go back to the slide and finish up. Apologies. So just a few minutes over. Okay, so moving on to your time this week. Day 1, define your target audience. Don't skip this. Take some time to answer the questions we gave you about who's your ideal customer, because that's who you're writing to. Get a picture in your mind of who that person is and what you want them to know about you, so that you can, as we said, build that know, like, and trust factor. So make sure you spend the time to do that. Create the content for your keyword pages on day 2. Remember, we have 5 keywords and 5 keyword pages therefore. So right now, I just want you to create the Word document for those and what those are going to look like, and then add those keyword pages to your blog and optimize them as we've shown you. And then day 3, create a list. Sorry, that's day 3 is adding the keywords to your pages. Day 4, create a list of posts for the next month. And I don't mean that you need to create the whole post, just get some ideas, go over to eZine Articles, to technorati.com, to different sites, just do a Google search and look at what's in the news for your particular keyword, and then get some of those ideas, and then on day 5, add your first post, optimize it, and then every week after that, whatever day 5 becomes, you then put your post up there. So if day 5 ends up being a Wednesday, then obviously every Wednesday you're going to make your post and make sure you put it on your social media. And we'll be getting more into social media in the next webinars, but post it there. Okay, so there we are. I hope that's been useful, and I hope you've got a lot out of this, and I think I've answered all the questions. So we'll be contacting you with the replay, and we will hopefully see you on the next webinar. So I've really enjoyed it. I love this topic because it's a great topic about content, because lots of people don't do it correctly. So it gives you great opportunity to really ramp up your business. So we'll call that a day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks very much.